What would have been a great time to go?
I think it just has to occur naturally, the beginning of a podcast.
Huh. You mean like organically, or in an authentic fashion?
Yes, in an authentic fashion. I feel like we both hype that theory.
Being organic and authentic?
Yeah.
Why is it called YOPO?
Why is it called YOPO? I think we went in a certain direction in the first episode and thought, oh, hey, we're going to record this in a coffee shop for the most part. So let's call it Java Jam.
Java. Well, and that was also us kind of making fun of the word ja.
Yes, because I think it's hilarious when you put ja in your songs.
Yeah, because we do that because Nicest Guys in the World does that.
Yeah. And you're the nicest guys in the world, but the thing that is not in the title of that band is that you're the nicest white guys in the world, which is why I think it's kind of funny.
Are you trying to say we're not the nicest reggae band in the world?
No, I guess not, but that's okay. You know, everyone can't be everything to everyone.
Why are you the CEO of YOPO?
Oh, yeah, so this
and not
week...
me.
This week, as if you didn't know already, I am a Sagittarius because can be tons of fun. Sometimes not. Sometimes I can be really cold. But that's the Sagittarius game. We're in an old-timey movie, and Happy Birthday is playing right now. Yep, so I turned 33 on Tuesday.
Which is an age that has a strong meaning.
Yes, I looked it up, and maybe I was just looking for this meaning because I think that's what people do a lot of the time when they try to seek out information about that.
They're kind of like...
The crystal people will probably come at me for saying this, but sometimes I think it's self-fulfilling prophecy to seek out this information. But I did find one explanation of the number 33 that said that it is tied with creativity.
Oddly.
Yeah.
Strange, huh?
So I'm really vibing on that for sure, even if it's not a real thing.
But it is, though, because lately you've been working on something.
I've been feeling creative AF. So, you know, Christmas time is a really complicated time for some people.
We should video this because Sarah is very fun to watch.
Christmas time is a very complicated time for some people because it's not always a great feeling.
It can be the worst.
It can be the worst Christmas ever. And as a result, I was trying to cheer up a friend. And so I created some, I won't say songs because they aren't full songs, but I created a series of song lyrics from Christmas songs. And it's called Sarah Ruins Your Favorite Christmas Songs.
You know what? In post, which is post-production.
Which I love to say because I don't know anything about anything, but I can say things like that.
This would be a great time to show the audience what you've been working on. So here it goes. Click.
I don't know about you, but I like to spend some time actually thinking about the lyrics and the songs that I'm listening to. So I created a series of songs called Sarah Ruins Your Favorite Christmas Songs because I'm a chronic overthinker who spends too much time in my head. So you're welcome. Track 1 from the Worst Christmas Ever EP, up on the housetop. I was not one take Jake in this case. I sang a bunch of words wrong in the first version, so here I am redoing it. Next comes the stocking of little Will. Oh, just see what a glorious fill. Here is a hammer and lots of tacks. Also a ball and a whip that cracks. That's kind of sexy. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Up on the housetop, click, click, click. Down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. This is going to be a really short version. Oh, Christmas tree, I cannot sing in German. The next song on Worst Christmas Ever EP is All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey, and I'm going to skip right to the good part. All I want for Christmas is you. Here's the thing. That would only slide on like your first Christmas together, because otherwise you were definitely expecting more than just your significant other for Christmas. This is Last Christmas by Wham. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. Can you imagine? Is this like some sort of sick plot from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? Someone rips their own heart out and gives it to you, and then you have the gall to give it to someone else the next day. First of all, it's disgusting. Secondly, I mean, that's a big deal. And you just gave it to someone else? Wrong. Silent night, holy night. There literally could not be a silent night at this point, because everything is marked by the din of something that's plugged in somewhere now, including the weird projection show you have up against your wall of your house right now. This is I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus will do. Why will only a hippopotamus do? Because your kid's a little shithead and you can't figure out anything else they could possibly want for Christmas? A hippopotamus will literally kill a member of your family. So you really need to take into consideration how happy you want to make your kid and how you'll have to take care of that hippopotamus eventually, because your kid is not going to take care of it after a while. It's like that dog. It's like the bearded dragon. It's like the hamster. You name it, that hippopotamus is not going to have a caregiver in about 4.5 seconds. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Here's the thing about one-horse open sleighs. If you were in a sleigh that was pulled by a horse, unless you were just going to your neighbor's house, if there were jingle bells jingling the entire time, you would want to open up a vein eventually. Horsepower, not very strong. I know that cars refer to horsepower, which means that they have a bigger engine, or whatever horsepower means. I don't know anything about engineering or science. But regardless, horses don't go very fast, especially when they're pulling humans. And I contend that if you were to be in a sleigh with jingle bells jingling all the way, it would not be a merry experience. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose. And if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. Sounds to me like old Rudy may have spent too many nights saddled up to the bar getting served by bartenders who were way more.
And then we did it. See, and then now we're back.
So I hope everyone here enjoyed Sarah ruining your favorite Christmas songs. I'm sure you'll never think of them in the same way again, especially those that frequent Callahan's.
Hippopotami is a favorite word of mine.
Is it?
Favorite word of mine?
My. Hippopotami.
Right. No, I thought I was especially entertained by your ruining Christmas songs, because I think, like you said, when you prefaced your EP.
My EP, which for those playing in the audience is, I like to say that a lot, I realize. For those playing in the audience.
What does EP stand for? It's not extended play.
No, it's not.
I thought it was too just now.
Oh, no. We might have to Google it later. Or actually, commenters, when we post this on the interwebs, please let us know what EP means, because neither of us know, and one of us is a professional musician.
Well, I mean,
damn.
I know personally, we have been waiting to do this podcast for a long time. We've been waiting 2 weeks.
It has not been that long. It's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks
Yes.
can be a long time this time of year.
2 weeks has been stewing. All these thoughts have been running through our heads.
We've got notes now.
We have notes. Yeah. I've got a Google Drive. I have a Google, not a spreadsheet, a Google Sheets document that talks about this podcast.
about.
And we never even said why we called it YOPO.
Oh,
we've
yeah,
already
right. I know.
transitioned to
Yeah,
other
we
things.
do transition a lot. We do a lot of
Yeah.
transitions.
Yeah, we'll call it that. That's a nice way of and a
Well, you're always
diplomatic way of
I
putting
know,
it.
but you're always in skit mode.
Yeah, I was told by Bobby Maggs recently that I make everything a joke.
Which is funny because that's what Andy Pitts always says about me. He always says, "Oh, everything's a joke to you." He said that for years. I mean, I think he actually said that. It may have been 15 years ago to me. He was joking, but it's still funny because I do like to. Like yesterday, I can say this on the podcast because I wasn't allowed to do a story about this yesterday. But before we get into this whole YOPO thing, which we will eventually.
It might be the end of the episode. It might be in 3 minutes. No one really knows.
Yesterday, when I walked into WHHI,
Of which I am also a presenter on sometimes.
you're a frequenter. Mm-hmm. I went in and LR was there and HR were in there, and I don't want to use their names right now.
HR?
Yeah.
Why? What was happening? What were you doing that was bad that HR had to come in and intervene?
No, not human resources.
I understand.
That
I was
a good one,
making
though.
a joke.
That was a good one. I know because everything's a joke to you.
Everything's a joke.
And somehow we got into my mother. I don't remember how. And then LR said to me, "Oh my gosh, well my mom's in heaven too." And I grabbed my phone immediately and I said, "Yes." And I said, "Dead Moms Club." And
Aww.
then HR said to me, "Jevon, you can't do that." So then LR said,
You're really not good at this,
I know,
are you?
No. So then LR said, "My mommy's in heaven, Jevon." And don't choke on your coffee there. That good grind roasters coffee, by the way.
Yep,
Thank you.
we're back here at the grind
Thank
at our
you.
sponsor, the
Thank
grind.
you to all our sponsors.
What's that book that
I'm not done.
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second though. What's the book that people like to read when you're trying to manifest something? Is it called The Secret? I always call it The Promise, but I think it's called The Secret.
When you're trying to manifest like something that like
You want to happen in
Would
your
happen.
life. So that's why
It's not
we're just
be
going to
here.
keep calling people our sponsors until we get sued or they decide to take pity
Get a
on us
sponsor,
and
yeah.
sponsor us.
Well, I mean, and we're not looking for a gold sponsor right now or a silver sponsor. I mean, it'd be nice if we had a platinum sponsor, but
Maybe like paper.
a paper sponsor?
A paper sponsor. I'm looking for like low grade materials that you can mass produce.
I don't know what that means.
Mass production?
Yeah?
Okay, let's move on. We digress.
So I did the story, and I said, LR and I are in the Mommies Are in Heaven club together, and I still don't think it's that funny. I think Dead Moms Club is funnier.
Well, I think
It's a little morbid.
if people know you, they probably think the heaven one is funnier because they expect the Dead Moms Club from you.
Oh, yeah. You're probably right. So why, oh why, did we call it YOPO? As I look out and see Lynn Hummel from the Bluffton Sun, who is another sponsor of our podcast, which used to be called Java Jam.
We now call it YOPO. I think it's because you only podcast once. I think it's called that. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's called that because the first time we recorded, we had to record it again because it didn't get recorded the first time.
You know, I actually forgot about that.
Also, we had the conversation about how we're both consummate professionals, and I called myself One Take Jake.
And I told you that Mike Kavanaugh, who is a bronze sponsor of our podcast. Thank you, Mike. Michael Kavanaugh, acoustic performer from Buffalo, New York.
Highest grossing acoustic performer.
I would say he is the highest grossing performer. I would say I'm number 3.
Number 3 on the list? Who's number 2?
I'm probably not number 3.
But who's number 2 if you're number 3?
come on,
Let's play this game and figure out who's number 2 if you're number 3.
I would say Reggie Dees is up there.
Oh, yeah. That's so true.
Let me think.
They're awesome.
I would say Martin Lesh is up there.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of acoustic guitar players who might be up there. Like we can't forget about GR
I can't. This
or
can't-
ST.
Okay.
Greg Russell and Shannon Tanner.
Oh, okay. Right.
Those guys are biggity bankers.
They're in the kids show circuit.
They are.
And by circuit, I mean they play in the same place where you can find them all the time.
They do.
Which is nice to have that
Shannon-
reliability.
Yeah, Shannon is going in 2020. He's going to be doing his 33rd year at Shelter Cove, and Greg will be doing his 44th.
That is amazing. What longevity those guys have.
Yeah, Greg was at the Black Rock T-shirt show, which I think probably changed some of his DNA forever. Greg
okay.
Russell, GR.
I feel like we can probably dispense with the initials now since we've already dropped who we're referring to.
I thought we called it YOPO because Lynn Hummel said that she wears a YOLO.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think when we forgot to record the first podcast, well, not we, because I'm the production manager. Mm-hmm. You're the CEO. I guess so. You're pretty much the CEO, and I'm the key grip.
Key grip. Okay. I don't know what a key grip
I know.
is.
No, I know. No one does. But I feel like whenever you see movie credits, you always notice key grip.
Okay.
Haven't you seen it?
Yeah.
I know.
I
but
have.
But what is it?
I don't know. Commenters also please tell us what a key grip is.
Thank you.
We can't go back and Google any of this on our own later. So if you could just help us out, that'd be awesome.
Our Google's broke. Our Google be broke.
Yeah.
The reason we keep joking around about asking you guys to engage is because we were going to discuss Beatles or Stones.
Oh gosh, Beatles or Stones. Can we first talk about the nice comments we received? Like, can we start it on a positive note and talk about the nice comments we received from some of Jevon's biggest fans?
Were there any?
Yeah, there were a few comments.
Oh, there was a few comments.
I took note of some of them.
Jan Hunter made a few.
No, that was the Beatles or Stones conversation. I'm talking about when you posted it. Sandra told us that it was a great podcast and that we go
Peanut
together
butter and jelly.
like peanut butter and jelly, but the nutty kind.
Yeah, and that confused you and me.
A little bit because nutty is actually what peanut butter tastes like always. But I think she meant crunchy. Maybe because it's like a little bit outside the norm.
Well, what if she just meant we were zany?
I mean, we are zany.
Or wacky.
Wacky. Matt Stock, one of our sponsors.
Is he?
Yeah.
Southender Magazine?
Southender Magazine, yeah.
You know what?
Because print and radio go together super well.
It would be really nice if the Southender Magazine would maybe just share our logo. Will you guys do it? Matt,
Will you?
Matt?
Can you answer us right now, even though
Matt.
this isn't live?
Hold on, we've got Matt on the phone. Matt,
are you there? So
wish I
that was
could-
a nice one. My friend Darcy, who I used to work with down at Doughboys, which we've mentioned before, she said that she likes our vibe as well, and that she loves Weezer, which we talked about last.
We
won't
did.
get into that one again because we're already moving on to a controversial topic.
Well, but I thought we were first gonna talk about which one of us was the peanut butter, which one of us was the jelly.
Shoot!
But if you're an R crumb aficionado, you would probably already know which one of us is the jelly. Hint, hint.
Okay. I haven't thought about R. Crumb in a long time, so.
Go ahead. Here, I'll give you a moment. Think about him now.
Okay. Nope, still don't know. Just
Have you
tell
ever
me.
heard-
Cut to the chase for me.
Well, okay. Well, have you ever heard of the pianist Jelly Roll Morton?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think he had a song about that jelly, and over the years, jelly has been an innuendo for the female.
Okay, so I'm the jelly, despite the fact that the peanut butter holds the sandwich together.
You don't have to be, because I think you're carrying this podcast, and that would mean you're the peanut butter.
I don't know. It just depends. I feel like kids more often ask for a peanut butter sandwich, obviously, without jelly, because what's a jelly sandwich? But
So
it was a nice comment.
what you're saying
we'll leave
is
it at that.
you could do this podcast without me if you're the peanut butter, because you don't need the jelly.
No.
Yeah,
you
you
have to have
said
a
it.
back and forth.
Please let us know in the comments if you think Sarah's a liar. Thank you.
Ouch. Okay. Well, we're segueing pretty nicely into the negative side of this.
Oh, no. Oh, worst Christmas ever already?
So we talked about how last week we talked about how I have been liking to engage people on Facebook more often, asking them questions, trying to get recommendations on things. Yesterday, I posted a picture of the Crypt Keeper and said, because I'm old, now I need an electric toothbrush.
Right.
So got some recs on electric toothbrushes yesterday from the hive mind of Facebook.
You did.
But Jevon,
What's a rec? Recommendation.
Recommendation,
Sorry. I know, I'm
yeah.
trying to keep up over here,
I'm a
guys.
Kardashian.
Because Sarah thinks she's old, and I got 14 years on you, girl.
Yeah.
I got 14 years of that wisdom. Not really. Caveman wisdom, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, that is a good wall to make a drawing on. That is a good club to club a brontosaurus with.
Ooh, well, dinosaurs and cavemen didn't live at the same time, but oops, sorry. Ooh, I corrected him. I'm sorry.
No, but I corrected you this morning, so it's okay, right?
That's true. Yeah.
We don't get offended
No, we don't.
here at YOPO. Do you get offended? Let us know. Are you easily offended? What do you think
Let
about
us
this whole?
know.
What if this podcast gets canceled
Canceled.
because of lewd language?
Lewd language. Oof. I hope not.
I can just bleep it. I can just bleep it out with little burp, little trumpets,
Boop. We're crickets.
which is what happened on your
Yeah, on my
EP.
on my Sarah Ruins Your Favorite Christmas Songs EP. I had to bleep myself out a couple
Which I
times.
think is gonna really be something one day.
Okay.
I mean, it already is to me.
Okay.
It's really well done. Anyway, okay, so what is the hot topic?
So the hot topic on Jevon's Facebook, which I knew when he asked the question was just going to bring out a heap of kind of
White guy
craziness.
White guy comments. Like,
yeah, white guy commentary.
And it pretty much only was over 40-year-old white guys exclaiming that they vote and aren't stoners.
Who have strong opinions about things, very strong opinions about things, specifically this topic, which was Beatles versus Stones.
Well, people's opinions are hurtful.
They shouldn't be, though, because
I know,
it's
but
not
why-
a personal thing, right?
No, well, I know, no, it's not, but we all morning routine.
Which
Didn't see any dog poop this morning. Drove the kids to school. I can remember a few months ago telling my daughters, and I've asked a lot of people this. Why do you care what they think? Why do you care? When people ask me what I like better, Beatles or Stones, just like Chevy or Ford.
right.
It's a big one. I think
Or
Chevy
whatever else. I mean, the whole point of that song is like you could do a million binaries
Yeah.
for people, and they would all have a strong opinion one way or the other about
But
something.
why do we care about people's opinions so much? I mean,
I'm getting a phone call. It's okay.
uh-oh.
I'll call him back later.
Jeremy Prees.
You're going to edit that out, but...
I am?
So,
Anyway.
opinions. People's opinions.
Well, I mean, are we gonna do a little 5 minutes on our opinion real quick on this subject?
Oh, sure.
Because you like the Beatles.
Yeah, I'm a Beatles gal for sure.
I'm a Stones boy. I'm a Stones boy.
Here's my thing, and this is what Barry Kaufman, thank you to our sponsor, Kaufman Copywriting.
That's right.
Just kidding, Barry. We know you're not our sponsor, but we still love you anyway.
Thanks a lot, Barry.
Barry offered, and maybe we can talk about it later, to come on the podcast and share his opinion on this topic as well. And we are on the same page in that the B-side of Abbey Road is literally magic incarnate.
Tell me some of those songs.
Golden Slumbers. I don't like being put on the spot like this.
Abbey Road is one of, I mean, the Beatles recordings are hard. They're hard to beat. I mean, they have there's a lot of production. John and Paul's voices are very sweet. They have sweet voices. I wouldn't really say the Stones' voices are sweet, but
No.
Mick and Keith can sound quite earnest sometimes.
Yes.
You know that song, Daddy, you're a fool to cry, and it makes me wonder why. Ooh. Do you know that song? Daddy, you're a fool to cry.
Sure.
You don't know it.
I'm not good at.
No,
I'm
it's
not
okay.
good at this game.
Well, no, I mean, it's not a game. Look, first of all,
It's not a joke.
first of all, this is not a game. But I think Beatles or Stones has a lot to do with parents.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because my parents were Beatles parents. Definitely.
My parents would fight your parents because my parents were some girls' parents. They were all some girls.
Your parents would probably win. My parents are not very.
Well, my parents
aggressive.
couldn't win because my mom's dead. Is that a cricket
That's
again?
my cricket sound. It wasn't a very good one, but
You know
speaking
who does-
of parents, though,
Go ahead.
oof. So my parents are visiting right now. My parents are visiting right now, and I like to start my morning off kind of in a way that. Oh, Ian's
There's
giving
Ian.
us the creepy
Ian.
look in there. I like to start
There
my
you go.
morning out by listening to some of my favorite songs, and so I do that when I get ready upstairs in my house.
There's no TV on in your house.
No TV on in the morning. I never watch TV in the morning. I know some people have that as their routine, like Good Morning America. That I like that. Today Show. It's a good way to kind of get your day started, put some thoughts in your head, think about some different news topics. But I prefer music. It puts me in a good mood, gets me set on a positive trajectory for my day. And this morning I walked downstairs. My parents are visiting right now. And my dad at 8 o'clock in the morning was watching a Nazi documentary on Netflix.
I like how you just looked at your watch.
Like it's 8 o'clock in the morning right now.
Let me check and see what time it is right now.
And I was like, interesting choice. I mean, very
Nothing like-
interesting. Nothing like a little.
Nothing like a little Hitler at 8 a.m.
Yeah. Whew. Really coming out of the gate strong.
Yes.
So, yeah. Parents visiting, very strange. But, yeah, my parents are Beatles parents.
Right. So
Because they got those tight harmonies. And we were like,
don't start talking about this. Don't start trying to say that they're better than the Stones harmonies.
I am not saying that. I think it's
They
a
do.
personal preference. See, we're feeding into what you just talked about.
We're not feeding it. We're just having a discussion. Are you
Fine.
we're just
But then
having-
there was the third rail.
Oh, the Who.
The Who people.
I know. Where did the Who?
The Who people.
But where did the Theodore Coods? Where did you come from with this? And then somebody started talking about mod.
Yeah.
That wasn't on the thread though.
But that was very strange too, because I couldn't figure out if they were saying that the Who was not mod, because they're like the definition of the mod movement in England.
And I don't know enough about the Who because I've never seen Quadrophenia.
Well, I aped this podcast last time, but the reason why I know a little bit about the mod movement is because of the podcast Disgraceland, which has an episode about Keith Moon. So,
You know what you did right there? Mm-hmm. Giving a shout out to another podcast.
yeah.
That's really like authentic of you.
Disgraceland is a really good podcast, but also, there's another one. There's a new one, Tupac Biggie, Slow Burn from Slate. That's another good one too. And the Dolly Parton podcast.
The Daly
which we've
Parton
talked about
podcast,
before.
we have talked about that before, and I think that I don't think I've listened to it because I don't really listen to podcasts very much except for Stevie Weeby on the Street and Tiger Belly, and I can't listen to Theo Von's podcast anymore because I'll start like trying to copy what he says about like talking into this grill right here. I'm talking about this microphone. I mean, I'll literally start. I will start talking like him.
Well,
I was
that's
growing
not a
a
bad
mullet.
thing, though.
It is a bad thing. I'm a copycat. And you're a what? Remember we were talking about this yesterday?
I don't know.
Everything's a skit to you.
Oh, skip mode?
Yeah, everything's like I noticed that you always sound like you're doing a skit, and then I'm more of a copycat who has to then regurgitate, like you know when little baby birds eat the food from the mom when they're like, and then the mom flies in.
Yeah.
I feel like that's been my entire life is like eating the food from like I'm going to make a pun here. Tony Hawk with the skateboarding. I was more of a Lance Mountain and I liked Kevin Staub and some other skateboarders, but I had to like eat everything they were giving me, or like Thrasher Magazine, skate videos, skate visions, all these great things that I saw when I was working at Shipper Shore back in the day. Thank you for not sponsoring. Well, they actually did sponsor me back in the day, but they can't sponsor our podcast because the place is gone. But
Actually, didn't someone reference that recently?
Yeah.
How you got your start on the
Yeah.
Shipper Shore
Over there.
commercial? Yeah,
I think it was
when you were
Adam
the
Semino.
other day.
I think it was Adam Semino was saying that I've that's how I like got known around here in 85 or 86 was that Gavin and I were sponsored by Shipper Shore. And now we get a lot of our shirts from Charleston T-Shirt Factory. What's up, Dane? Thank you for sponsoring YOPO.
We actually might get shirts though.
Yeah,
so
we
let
are
us know if you're interested
Would
by
you like a
listening
shirt?
to this podcast.
Would you like a YOPO shirt out there?
I would,
Well, that's,
but I guess
yeah.
that is pretty
You'll-
obvious.
You'll get one for free, but you'll pay for it though, because we're gonna Dutch. We're gonna do it.
You'll
Dutch.
get it for free. Yeah, I got my holiday bonus today. Hit that bank account. So exciting.
Yeah, I know. You told me about that.
So Beatles and Stones, do you think we've like traversed that enough?
No.
I would say that we need to just let people look at the comments themselves on your Facebook, because I feel like it's a little bit of a minefield and it's a little bit of a time suck to talk about that particular topic.
I just don't think you can take memories away from people, and I think music makes a lot of memories, and that's why I think
That's
it's
such
really
a good point.
I think it's really hard. I think it's really hard to, as you get older, you know how people all the time are saying, "Oh man, they just don't make rock and roll like they used to, man. We used to listen to Skinner out there and sit on my dad's El Camino and drink."
You're right. They
Budweiser."
don't make it like they used to because it is constantly changing and evolving. Hello.
Good point.
Hello.
But if you listen to Alabama Shake's album Sound and Color and you're telling me they don't make rock and roll like they used to, well, guess what? You're wrong, you're wrong, and you're wrong. Because that album rocks.
Yeah.
And
What are you listening to these days?
What am I listening to these
Yeah.
days?
Besides YOPO, of course.
Oh, I actually have listened to YOPO a lot. And I was thinking we were going to make a lot of references to our first podcast, but we're not, which is good because we're pressing on.
I feel like we have
We have?
a lot of material.
We do.
Right?
Yeah, well, you mean new material today.
Well, I just mean in general.
It's never going to run out. This morning I was listening to the Rolling Stones' Bridges to Babylon album, which I
Okay.
really like, which came out in the 90s, and a lot of people say is their worst album ever, and I say, again, you're wrong, you're wrong. I like, but what
But see, that's the point. Can we go back to that? The opinion thing for a second is
I didn't mean to bring up the Stones again.
no, not that. That's fine. Go
Yeah.
for it. But I think maybe saying that people are wrong about their opinions is probably not the right way
It's
to
wrong.
go about it.
It's
That is wrong.
It is wrong. That is wrong. Well, you know, but
Because
but
you probably like that album for a specific reason. As you mentioned earlier, you can't take memories away from people. So wherever you were when you first heard that is probably the reason why you love it.
I can't remember where I was. I think it came out in 95.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember buying it thinking I really liked the album artwork, which was like a flat blue and silver. And it's almost like a sphinx, but it's a lion.
Okay.
Because Babylon, you know, Lion of Judah. You know, the Stones did an album in Jamaica.
Okay. I did not know
And
that.
there is some really cool. There's a really cool reggae song on there, "Dripping from Your Lips," sung by Keith. It's really cool. It's a dirty kind of some innuendos in there as usual.
Clark in the building.
I know. I saw Clark and Benji. Check out Clark and Benji.
On Instagram.
On Instagram.
It's literally Clark and Benji.
A man and his best friend.
And his best friend is adorable and furry.
Yeah.
I'm going to go off topic for 1 second, but Andy Pitts just changed his Facebook photo.
I know, to him and his
I
dogs.
had to stop myself from commenting Fur Daddy on it. Which is a reference to our last podcast.
It is?
Yes. Because I said, your band has a lot of cute dads in it.
Oh,
and then I
right.
said, fur dads included.
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
called
yeah.
him Fur Daddy. And I said,
I did?
Please don't call him that.
But I didn't make up Fur Daddy.
You didn't?
Oh, wait, maybe I did because what do you call a dog dad?
A fur dad?
I don't think you do. I don't think people do though.
I
Hey, could someone
did.
listen? Since our Google is broken,
I'm all out of Google today, guys.
is there any way that you could Google fur daddy and let me know if that means dog dad?
Well, you can be a furry and you can be a daddy, and those are two very different things.
We're not talking about a furry.
I know,
right
we're not digging into that. This is a family show. Please let your kids listen to it because they might have opinions on Beatles or Stones.
I think a lot.
Actually, that's a good conversation because I just went over to my friend Lindsay Rambo's house
who has
the
a
other
cute
day.
little. She has a cute little daughter.
Oh yeah, me and Rosie are very close friends.
You are friends with a lot of children.
Well, what do you mean? I have nieces, and I've been around kids all my life, even when I was one. Obviously.
No, you said when you were when
I was
one,
a kid, though,
when you were a kid, you were around a lot of adults.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I like to be around kids now. But Rosie Rambo is a big Beatles fan, and Lindsay let me know that if we wanted Rosie to be on the podcast, she was allowed. And I feel like maybe allowing only children podcast guests is kind of an interesting idea.
I like that idea.
Let us know, Facebook, if you think that's an interesting idea. If your child would like to share some interesting opinions on things.
But the only thing is, though, is that we'll have to have a car line because you're not allowed to sit in. As far as parents go, you're not allowed to sit in on the podcast. You'll have to leave your child here.
What's the podcast equivalent of a stage mom, do you think? They're just, so we're in a room.
Like a pod mom?
Pod mom. Pod people.
You mean, yeah, that's what we are. It would kind of be like a person. Well, right now we're at the grind, and I see there's a couple celebs out there in the grind right now. See Low Country Blonde. She's out there.
We have.
But wouldn't the podcast mom kind of be like, well, I'll just be right back. And then how would they primp the child to get on the podcast? Like what sort of, like Mountain Dew, Starburst?
Oh yeah, what's it called? Go-Go Juice? Is that what?
That's
what's her name? Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah,
Honey Boo Boo.
Honey Boo Boo. Thanks for sponsoring our podcast.
For sponsoring Go-Go Juice. Thank you for sponsoring. But I think the podcast mom. So we're in a room just to kind of paint the sonic picture once again.
Wow.
If we look outside this room, there's some glass doors. Kind of like a French door.
Yeah, they do kind of look French.
Yeah, they're like a French door. So the pod mom would sit right outside and she would be looking at the kid the whole time.
Probably.
And just be like smiling crazily and like doing a
thumbs up.
Doing a thumbs up.
Like, or like this. Come on, smile more. Come on, smile. Even though we're not filming.
Yeah, even though we're on a podcast.
It'd be like, come on, smile more. Or like get to the point. Like this hand motion.
Yeah.
Can you tell the audience what I'm doing right now?
Yeah, he's like it looks like he's wafting a nice scent towards himself, but he's like trying to make it wrap it up. Wrap it up, kid.
Let's come on, you're going on too long. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. This is what Lindsay would say. Come on. You need to come on, just wrap it up. No more talking. No. Now I'm actually motioning to a gentleman outside.
Yeah, so this is when the
Like
professional and personal...
No. More. He's looking very confused.
This is when the professional and personal gets kind of confusing to people. The man looking at us right now is a gentleman I know from my job, and so...
He's like, what
what are you doing right now,
he's
Sarah?
Like, why are you in the gutter right now? Why are you...
With this... What did the person call you? White trash? But that was when you had your mullet.
I did, and I had my bathing ape jacket on, my very colorful.
Okay.
And I had the mullet, and I was wearing a trucker hat. I think. Tell me this: are trucker hats trashy?
No, I don't think so anymore. I feel like they made a transition to not be trashy anymore.
Who's the comedian that has a beard and long hair and wears a trucker hat all the time?
Judah Friedberger?
She doesn't need to Google. Google ain't broken. Its name is Sarah Joey.
Well, wait. Oh, we have to talk about that later. But actually, so we once again have just whittled away a lot of time on frivolous topics. We've talked about a couple things that we wanted to talk about today.
Well, we haven't talked about
what we thought was our main topic. I'm using air quotes right now because I think we just let the spirit move us wherever it goes.
Well, no, but if there's a hole to go down, we'll go down it.
We'll go. Yes, we will. And so we wanted to talk about today, since we've been talking about the holidays for the first 2 episodes of YOPO, we wanted to talk about resolutions.
Right,
And
New
I've been
Year's.
thinking a lot about this topic recently because I think that there's definitely a right and wrong way to go about a New Year's resolution.
Well, you were telling me the other day when I think I texted you and said write this down, and then you put it in your thing, your Google Drive. I think people get carried
Google's
away.
not broken.
Oh, Google actually still works?
Yes, just Google Drive.
Hey, thanks Google for sponsoring our podcast.
Definitely going to get sued for that one.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, I personally think people make these inflated promises to themselves about,
Right.
I'm going to lose 20 pounds next year.
I think that where we go wrong, and this is what I thought yesterday, I think that where we go wrong in resolutions is calling them resolutions. Because if you resolve to do something, that is, willpower is bound to fail at some point. Even the person who has the strongest motivation and drive and willpower, it fails at some point. And depending on who you are and depending on your, I don't want to say mental strength, but mental health, that can really derail a person.
Well, I mean, look at Andre Agassi. I mean, he was going strong, and then next thing you know, I mean, the same with Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, these guys were meth heads.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. It's one thing to get to a place where you're at the top of your pond, where you're a big fish in a little pond, like around
Yes.
here. Like in Bluffton, there's people who are well known or whatever. Can you imagine being an Andre Agassi or an Oscar De La Hoya and having great wife, great life, which is similar to having happy podcast wife, happy podcast life. But, I mean, to hear those guys talk about their struggles and stuff and how they started doing a pretty heavy-duty drug.
Yeah.
It's sad, and I think it just goes to show you that, the ebb and flow of life and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think you really have to sort of be prepared to fail.
Definitely. But I think that, so my thought again is that maybe we should call them something other than resolutions, because resolving to do something, you are going to fail at some point, which obviously, like, you can pick yourself up by the bootstraps and try again. But maybe instead of resolution, we should call them reflections and think a little bit more internally about what we want to change about ourselves or improve about ourselves, and keep reflecting on that fact, throughout the year.
I mean, a resolution also means, resolution means finish, doesn't it? Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
And that's...
And we also had this conversation the other day about how it's not important to resolve to do it the first time.
Right.
It's important to renew that resolution as
Right.
much as you can.
And I think when you're reflecting, this is good, by the way. I like this content. I think reflection gives it's a lighter, softer place to land.
Yeah. And it allows you to be internal and to understand that in order to make sure that you're successful moving forward, you're checking back in with yourself frequently to say, hey, I've been doing great at this, but maybe this is something I can try coming up. So what is your resolution or reflection, as I'm now calling it? New Year's reflections or renewals?
Oh. Well, since I'm having the worst Christmas ever, which it really isn't, everyone's healthy in my family, so I can't really say it's the worst Christmas ever because, it's not. I'm just saying that because it's a joke. Just like everything else seems like it is to me sometimes. But I haven't really thought about too many things I'm going to reflect on next year, but I know this. I have made a deal with myself and the devil to write more songs.
Okay. I like that one. You also told me about another one the other day, though.
I did? Mm-hmm. Oh, I did. To not repeat the same.
You're renewing this one, you told me.
Oh, I was?
Mm-hmm.
Is it to not maybe say mean things to people?
Yes, that's what it was.
I know. You're a jerk for saying that.
Why?
I'm joking, see? It was a joke.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think that the Jevon filter is wonderful. And yes, I hate when people talk about themselves in third person. That's why I'm doing it. But people all the time say, "Oh man, you're like you said in the first podcast, like people want to be like me because what they see is free.
Yes.
What they see is someone flapping their wings and jumping off a building and flying.
Sure.
But, you know, what I see sometimes is the residual effects of, you know, I mean, this is like hard to say, but I have hurt my family members with my mouth before, and I'm not talking about giving them hickeys.
I'm with you there for sure.
I think we all hurt our family members we cut them the deepest.
Definitely.
I think you say things, the stuff Gavin and I say, what up, gnarly Gav? I think the stuff that I say to Gavin sometimes, I mean, I don't feel like, I don't know, maybe there are some grudges there, but I don't know. I think that's the hardest thing for me is that when I start going and being the mean guy who has stored up all these, because I think we all do that. We all store up all this ammunition, and then all of a sudden we fire everything at the person.
And that's the problem is that when that gun fires, you have no idea what the effects are going to be afterwards.
Right.
And that's when you lose control of the situation. So that's why it's important to lock it in sometimes and it's really hard to, you're right. I mean, like that filter, sometimes it's really thick and sometimes it's very thin, depending on where you are in your own personal life too. So I think when we're not happy with ourselves, that's definitely the time when we fire at will, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think your relationship with others is a reflection on your relationship with yourself. And I think a lot of times we beat ourselves up. This is like the serious part of the podcast. I don't know.
We can get back to jokes soon.
I know.
But I feel like we're not quite done with this.
No, we're not. No. Oh, no, I wasn't trying to get out of this. I think relationships are difficult. I think living with people is extremely difficult. I think maybe fur daddies have it easier.
Yeah.
Because
they have dogs to pet and snuggle and
well, yeah, and the
feel better.
The dogs don't say like, I asked you to do this, or stuff like leaving your dishes in the sink, or
dogs don't care about that. They would prefer that you leave them on the floor so they can eat off of them.
They would. I mean, I think you see a lot of people suck stickers out there, and I think that I don't know, maybe this kind of stuff's hard for me to talk about because I have incensed so many people in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Not about that, but for myself as well.
Yeah.
I've definitely said the wrong thing that has been, and again, afterwards, and reflecting back on that it affected the other person, and you have no control over how that other person is feeling about it.
That's really hard when you are in your bed saying, I can't control this out loud at 3 a.m. Not saying I've ever done that, of course.
Never.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it's good to have a friend that you can. Maybe sometimes instead of telling your loved ones how you really think, you should scream it into a hole in the ground or tell someone else.
Or talk about it on a podcast.
Yeah, just start your own. But you know what? Start your own podcast, okay? Because this is our podcast. This is called The Only Podcast Once, featuring Jevon, Daly, and Sarah Joey.
And featuring Jevon's guest, Sarah Joey.
Oh, yeah, right. No. Featuring Sarah's guest today. We're bringing her in now. Here comes Laura. She's 3 years old. Oh, that.
I love the Beatles.
Oh, God.
I used to, back in college, I'm going to talk once again, back in college, I used to
Here we go.
I used to do a baby cry. It was like,
On. Oh, my God.
we went back into jokes, but for real, folks, like, don't beat yourself up if your resolution doesn't work out. Think about it as a learning experience.
Or a reflection.
Yes. And
I think
will
you do.
Go ahead.
I think you constantly. I don't know why, but I keep thinking about people just always talk about going to the gym.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing.
I don't do that one because I know myself, and I know that if something gets in the way of my workout routine, I'm going to be derailed. So I try not to do that as a resolution because I know that I probably am not going to be very good at it. I mean, I hope to be more active in 2020, but am I going to say that I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week?
Oh, I didn't know if you were talking about the gym or something else.
Probably not. My resolution is a renewal in 2020, and that's to continue to go see more live music.
There you go. Victory North. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast, Victory North. I would say the hottest venue in Savannah.
Oh, yeah. I love it there.
Yeah.
I'm excited
I
to go
saw
to more shows there.
Obituary there.
Yeah.
That's how we started our first podcast. Obituary.
Yeah.
And I also saw Neon Indian there, which was great. And
I saw Big Frida, and she was awesome.
Is she local? No.
No, she's from New Orleans.
Yeah.
So Big Frida is the queen of bounce music.
Oh.
Which, check out her single Louder featuring Iconopop on Apple Music or wherever you get your music.
YouTube.
It's amazing. Like, it will put you in such a good mood for the day. And I like to put on really loud music. That's my thing. That's what I've been listening to lately is the pop punk of my youth.
Right.
And just singing at the top of my lungs on the way to wherever I'm going. People probably think I'm crazy when they look in my car because I don't have tinted windows. But it's really fun. I love it.
I have been listening to Frank Ocean's new song In My Room. And I think if you want to hear something great, the Blonde album, Blond, came out a few years ago. I've also still can't stop. I've also still not stopped. Won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah. I won't stop listening to Solange.
Okay.
Her last 2 albums are, to me, very... I don't know, like there's such a broad audience that can listen to like Don't Touch My Hair. It's such a great song. Mm-hmm. Some people might think some of her songs are a little politically charged, but again, we're living in Kaepernick's.
That's the name of the game these days, kids.
I know, right? We're living in the world where, lately I've seen on Facebook a lot of people are saying like Michael Vick shouldn't be allowed to.
Yeah, that whole thing was kind of blown out of proportion.
Well, I mean, I think again, it's people's opinions.
Pretty much everything.
Everything
now,
has been blown out of proportion.
Everyone has a platform for their opinion now, which is fine. It's great, but
Andy Warhol said
very, very complicated sometimes.
Well, it does because people's opinions upset us.
Yeah. But that's why let's spend more time reflecting on our own issues and figuring out how to make ourselves better people in the world.
Why?
Let's do that.
Yeah. Why do you sometimes you have to wonder, why do I care so much about other people's opinions? Like, you know what's funny to me is people always comment on my clothing. Yesterday, I wore my Carhartt overalls and my Blaze orange hunting Elmer Fudd, which I don't think it looks like an Elmer Fudd hat, but people always say like, "Oh, you Elmer Fudd," ha ha, and immediately sometimes I'll lash out at them with the no filter, and then I think, why did I?
Baby brat caveman comes out.
I know. Why did I do that? But I've always done that. I've done that since I moved here and had beautiful, beautiful, long, platinum blonde hair, and people called me Julie.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those things where you just have to think, one, what I've told you in the past, you can't control it. And two, trying to figure out why they're going there. Is it because, again, it's probably because they know that you feel free enough to go out in public and do that and be that person, and they don't.
I think people also know. I'm thinking about some of my friends now. I think people also know that my father likes to say this a lot to me, that it's therapeutic to go out and hurl, not necessarily they're not insults at me, to really let loose. It's therapeutic to have me as your therapist.
I guess,
specifically.
But you're not their therapist because you're not giving them any perspective on what they're saying.
No,
and they
I know.
don't feel. And this is one thing that I bring up.
But isn't Big Frida? Wasn't she your therapist that night?
To a certain extent,
She was therapeutic.
yes.
I think.
But
okay.
I think too, putting that in the context of whether that makes you feel better or not. And this is something we've talked about too, and something that I am trying to reflect on as well is getting in that space of like ranting about something. I get in that space a lot. And I've tried to reflect a little bit more and say to myself, okay, is this making you feel better? Oh, it's not? Cool. Well, then you need to cut it off. Like, because there's no reason to get yourself all worked up about something if there's not going to be any outlet in the end. What are you doing with your eyes right now?
I think the coffee just kicked in. Yeah, I mean, I think it does make people feel better. I think teasing your friends makes you feel better.
Oh yeah, your friends, yeah, for sure. But do you feel like
I like to tease strangers.
Yeah, exactly. Does that make you feel better?
Well, I think I
can't do it because my arms aren't long enough. I just tried to take a selfie and it
Sarah
did
was
not work
trying
out.
to get a photo. Well, you should just do it anyway.
Okay, I will in a second.
We'll do one like a different one where we come in like this. We were just trying to do a photo of us with our headphones on. Thank you, Shure Headphones, for sponsoring our podcast. These are really nice headphones, by the way. Thank you.
They are.
Thanks for sending them not free, because they definitely were not free. I feel like someone said Jevon doesn't come out hugging.
Oh.
A friend of mine who I'm not going to mention.
So, in the sense that you're not a cuddly, cozy person?
Well, I mean...
Is that what they meant by that statement?
No, he meant that...
or like literally hugging?
He meant like I come out swinging instead of hugging.
I see.
Yeah, like I do like to... I like to look someone... Because, I mean, I also feel like I'm definitely not burned out on performing, but maybe I'm burned into performing. Maybe I'm just kind of like... I like to do the things that, like, like picture Eric Clapton with a big pair of shades on, or like Rod Stewart. Those guys. A lot of those guys said they hid behind those things. And these are guys who are. I'm not comparing myself to either one of them, although they are both white. But I'm not comparing myself to famous people. I'm just saying that day in and day out, when you go and you're performing, I mean, people don't realize it does sort of take. You're giving a little chunk of yourself to those people. But for me, the takeaway has always been like, I want to say something that people will never forget. And
Yeah.
so that's it's so back to the little bird thing, you know, I like to take in words and take in information all the time, and then I like to try and spit something out one day that's someone is
Gold. Podcast gold.
Yeah, or I mean, or like just a bronze turd.
Oh, okay. Fair
Sometimes
enough.
it's not. Sometimes it's not the greatest, but I feel like this podcast has sort of become dark, like the seasons are for some people today.
True, which is a good segue into our next episode, which is going to be all about how to negotiate the dark times of winter, especially in a place that's fed by hospitality.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're all of us make a living, well, you don't, but
I do to a certain extent.
right, because your event, you don't do event. Your next event is until February.
January,
Oh,
which Low Country Boils tentatively going to play it. We're still
February.
working
I
out
thought you
the
said
details.
February.
It is February.
I know.
But we have other events before that one.
oh, right. Okay, I got you. Yeah. Well,
It's not all about you. God
no,
damn
I know.
it.
I know. It's about my dad.
My boss has a little bit of a, don't tell Mike Daly, but my boss has a little crushy crush on Mike Daly.
I think a lot of, you know, my dad always says,
It's because he looks like Willie.
"You can call me Dad," and I'm
Ooh.
like, "Oh, that's so wrong."
At least he doesn't say daddy. That takes it to a different place for sure.
My dad has said a lot of creepy things on the microphone. We've even had to press the mute button on his microphone and stop him.
So special shout out to someone who will remain nameless, I'll say. So we have an event each year, and each year the person who chairs the committee that leads the event, that plans it, he tells really bad jokes at the beginning, and every time he does it, I'm like, we need to cut his mic, cut it. Because first of all, they last too long. Secondly, you never know where they're going to go. They meander a lot of different places, and you don't know if it's going to be truly appropriate or not, but it's very funny. I feel like we went to a really deep place today.
I hope. Oh no. My father one time started talking about Venezuela, and it's like economy or something
Okay.
on the microphone.
Okay.
I feel like it was last year.
Yeah?
And I just pressed the mute button.
Yeah, I'm like, how does he feel about Nicolas Maduro?
Yeah, I know. And I said, "Hey, Dad, look around at all our friends who are here today. They don't want to hear that."
Aw.
And he was like, "Oh God, yeah. Oh, man, sorry. I'm going off mic because this is what it sounded like when he. All you ever do.
Did you do that on the mic, though?
I said on my microphone that was live.
Okay. So can we rewind to the part where you maybe trying to change the way that you talk to people in public?
Yeah, I know, but I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything mean.
Oh, I guess that's true.
No, because my father was kind of going off from a certain place politically.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
And I just turned around and I went.
Yeah.
Because my father doesn't know how to really work our PA system that he's been making a living off of since 1994.
So the opinions thing, yeah, I mean, that's interesting to think about. Oh, we got a little drummer in here, a little drummer boy, which is one song I didn't record.
Didn't do it. No, you.
I
Well,
mean, there's still time.
I talked about doing it. There is. It's not finished. It's not
No.
over till the. What
Till
kind of? I wouldn't.
Fat lady? I don't know.
No, definitely wouldn't say that about you.
So
Whoa!
opinions.
Sarah just did a little diaphragm stretch there. Now she's doing a little lumbar rub.
Opinions
What in the
are
world?
complicated.
What was that? What was that you just did?
Just a little stretch. Opinions are complicated. So are resolutions. Do whatever feels right to you.
Just do
but
something.
check in with yourself. That's all I ask. Just check in with yourself.
That's what yoga
and
instructors
check in
say
with
a lot.
us.
Oh, drop us a line. How?
We're gonna be on. This is gonna be on Spotify,
And Anchor FM.
Anchor FM,
And
YouTube,
It'll be on YouTube.
and then Jevon will post it on his Facebook. I'll post it on my Facebook, and just give us your comments and let us know what you want to hear about next time, in reference to the dark times of winter.
I have a quick a side note that's not. I know we're going to run over.
That's okay. We're going to have to edit this anyway, so it's fine.
No, we're not editing it.
Okay,
I'm not
go
taking
ahead.
your friend's name out either. Someone who will remain nameless. I feel like that's one of our new catchphrases. Someone who will remain nameless. That's hard for me to say. Said they Googled you and that you look exotic. And I said, no, she's just a white girl from Illinois, but I want to know more about your ethnicity. Go.
It's pretty much white girl from Illinois is what it boils down to. I think my mom's family is Welsh, so it's really Anglo-Saxon.
Are corgis Welsh?
Yeah, corgis are so cute, right? I think
love
they're kind of aggressive, though, from what I've heard.
I went to a house the other day owned by someone who will remain nameless to give a guitar lesson. Yes, you were supposed to call me back about the guitar lesson. You forgot, Mr. Big, tall, handsome man. He was very handsome, this guy. I was kind of like intimidated by this guy's looks.
Okay.
He looked like a model. But as soon as I sat down with the guitar, my alpha came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they had two corgis, and that one I would say one corgi was sort of like an older man.
Okay.
And
Old man corgi.
Yeah, and the other corgi was sort of like 33, looked pretty good for its age. And
Ouch! Pretty good. Ugh. Qualifiers.
Sarah's like fixing her bangs as she's like, "What you talking about, boy? You're Welsh and
like English.
I don't know.
Is
your hair black?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to paint a sonic picture of Sarah Joey.
Naturally,
to you guys right now.
you
Sarah's
can look me up. It's not hard to find me.
You wear those kind of shoes a lot, which
Booties?
are is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm. Booties. Mm-hmm.
Which is like a half
boot.
You know how the NBA players wear the high tops, and then there's a mid
Yes.
cut high top.
Yeah.
You wear a lot of those, and my favorite ones are the ones that look like Wizard of Oz.
Red velvet boots.
Yep.
Yeah, those are pretty.
But they're not
cool.
really red.
They're good. It was called cherry.
Really?
I feel like we need to wrap this up.
Finish the podcast?
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in to YOPO number 2.
Stay tuned. Our next episode will come out in a few weeks.
Undetermined.
Typically
on a Friday.
Typically on a Friday.
I can't remember.
TGI YOPO.
Is that why?
I think so.
I feel like she's fixing her bangs again. Hold on, guys. We got to wait a second.
We gotta wait. I can't do it at the same time.
Thank you, Zoom Recording Machines, for sponsoring us. It's actually Zoom Deutschland on Instagram. Thank you, Shure Headphones, for not sponsoring us. Although these headphones, what do you think?
Dope.
Really, they look good. They feel good. They're soft, like the blankets you like.
Next episode going to be recorded at night, YOPO After Dark.
Oh yeah.
At Cool Cats Lounge on Hilton Head Island. We were given permission by Matt Stock, who does not own Cool Cats, but I assume that Michael is his name, correct? That owns it?
Yeah, Michael.
I assume he will also be okay with us
well,
recording there.
And let me just say something right now. We don't care if you're okay with us recording at your establishment because we'll record this wherever we want. We'll set up on the side of the road if we have to. We'll set up in a little camper, which I know Sarah Joey is very fond of, like a little camper you could pull behind a truck.
Yeah, there you go.
With no steering, like there's no. Are there kitchenettes in those kind of things?
Yeah.
Oh, there are. There's a little sink.
Yeah.
Is there a little
Sink,
oven?
stove.
There is a stove.
And then I think it depends. I feel like most of them have maybe a tiny shower that perhaps I could fit in because I'm short in stature, but you would not be able to fit in that shower.
I'm big and I'm bigger. Part of the reason I am a candidate for being an alpha is because I am 6 feet tall.
Yes. 6 foot plus is what gets you to alpha range. We've gone off on another tangent, folks. Thanks for hanging with us. See you in January.